Hi everyone, we'll just do the normal wait until we're on time and we'll get started properly. So I could see some familiar names coming in to the attendees list. Hi guys. Normally I'd be looking at a list of facts that I jotted down, but I forgot to today, so I'm trying to remember some facts off the top of my head. If anyone's got some good facts that they want to shout out, by all means use the chat function and put them in there. Let's give a few more seconds so more people are able to come in. I realise for those over in Australia, it could be a bit early in the morning still for some, particularly if you're over in Perth. All right, so I think that's enough awkward silence. So we'll kick it off and welcome again to the second of the bi-monthly LT Update webinars that we're doing, last one for the year. And just as always, I want to introduce myself if you're not familiar with who I am. I'm Farley. I'm one of the customer success managers for ADInstruments. And there's a few people behind the scenes that are helping out with Q&As and chat. They're all actually from our development team. So they were involved with actually creating the analytics, which is going to be the main topic of this webinar. So feel free to message in the chat function, which should see at the bottom of your screen. If you want to be saying hi, if you want to be asking any particular questions, please use the Q&A function. And note that you can actually upvote or give a thumbs up for any question that someone else has asked. And you can actually also comment on those questions as well. So it's a good way to get a bit of discussion going, which hopefully we'll be able to do today. So I want to make this a bit more of a interactive webinar, which might be best done as a meeting, but we'll do what we can with the webinar format in Zoom. So I want to be also pointing out some other resources that are available to you. So there's all the webinars, both this one and from the other series, available on our website, and we can be including links to that at the end of the webinar. And as always, there's our LT support site. If you do have any questions, or you can reach out to myself or some other CSMs or support reps from ADI. There's the LT community that you can access from within LT itself. So that's always a good option if you want to be having more in-depth discussions with other educators who are using LT. All right, so what I want to talk about first is the content updates. So these have mainly been around either fixing bugs or translating the content, but the big chunk of work is still going on with the chemistry collection and association with Vernier. So that's pretty exciting stuff. And hopefully sometime next year I'll be able to show more of that. But there's a question that I'd like to put to you all, and this has come from our content team, which is, with the pivot to online learning, we need to know what resources you need that you can't readily find. So please use the chat function to maybe be putting that out to us, because we really want to do what we can to help you all teach remotely, if you are still unfortunately able to teach remotely. So please use the chat function if anything's come to mind, and we'll take note of that and either follow up with you afterwards, or the team might take that on board and create some of the resources that you're lacking. If conversely you have resources that you found very useful that you think others on the webinar might find useful, by all means feel free to put that in the chat function as well, and share the goodies, so to say. So very quiet bunch today. In terms of resources that have been made available by ADI, if you aren't familiar, we have a blog, and you can filter down to the education side. So you'll see the LT Analytics dashboard, which I'll be mentioning shortly, but there's also a lot of useful articles that have come out, and our content team has made some that have been more relevant to teaching in the COVID era, so to say. So definitely recommend jumping on here and having a look. Usually you would be getting an email if you've signed up to this, but just pointing out that you can go to our website and go to the blog. We also have some recordings from the recent Brain Trust. So if you missed the brain trust, we have managed to record those, and those can all be found on our website as well. So that was a really cool event. It's over 4 days and some really great talks. And yeah, if you missed that or you want to go back over anything, please feel free to visit our website. And yeah, we'll put those links in the chat for you so you can access those. So there's some cool resources that are really available now for you. All right. So just a reminder for those that have come in a bit later that you can use the Q&A function if you have any questions, as well as the chat function if you want to be asking if you want to be posting any resources that you find useful or asking us for any resources that you haven't been able to find but you'd like to. So our content team would really like to do what they can to help you. So assume probably what you're all waiting for is me to show off the analytics. And before I do though, I just want to point out that there has been a lot of other work going on besides the work on analytics. So there's been ongoing bug fixes, maintenance, as well as improving the accessibility in LT as well. And that again is focusing a lot around tabability. So I'm not sure if that's actually a word, but I'm going to say it's a word. So being able to use keyboard to navigate LT. So before I show the analytics, there's a couple of questions I wanted to ask beforehand, because we want to be making sure that what's being developed and what's going to be developed in the future is useful. Want to know what analytics tools you're currently using. So again, if you don't mind using, in this case, the Q&A feature is probably best, because that way you can be liking or upvoting what other people have done and also commenting on that. So I'll just repeat the question again, asking what analytics tools you are currently using. So I'll just give you a few seconds to do that. See what responses we get. Everyone's being a bit cagey about what tools they're using. All right. Well, I might ask another question then. Just what analytics are most important to you? So again, just using the Q&A option to provide a response. And if you see someone else providing a response that you agree with, you can thumbs up or even comment on that. Getting flashbacks from teaching days when I put a question out to the classroom and, oh, here we go. All right, so cheers, Judith. So yeah, just pointing out that currently, very few analytics have been available in LT. So that's something that the team is looking to remedy. So student progress during the lesson. And Tracy, so tools that enable me to see what areas students are struggling with in particular. Yeah, I agree. So kind of more those intervention ones, just being able to see how students are actually engaging with it and tailoring the teaching appropriately, which makes sense from Grant. So after granular analytics, showing engagement in the lesson and how they're doing. So not too many surprises there, but good validation what we're trying to do. All right, so if I skip over and jump into preview instance of LT, because I should point out that currently the analytics aren't live, but I've been told that in 51 minutes they should be. So if you can hold on another 51 minutes, you'll be able to see them in your instances of LT. And as we'd definitely love to know your feedback, so you can provide that either within LT itself, the drop down with LT feedback. You know my email address, which probably you've seen on the emails being sent out from Zoom. You can reply to that. Just whatever is easiest for you to provide feedback on how you found the analytics. So looking at a particular course now, And what might be most apparent is that the dashboard that is normally displayed in this area of students have been invited to a course and started progressing through lessons is no longer shown, because Analytics is taking advantage of that dashboard and essentially enhancing it. So what you'll initially see is there's the Analytics button here, and just below that, something to give you an indication of how many students have actually accepted the invite to that course. If you're wanting to find out, in this case, say who those 2 students who haven't accepted the invite are, as always, you can go down to the students' accounts, and then you can filter down by pending, and you can get their email addresses if need be as well. And that way you can follow up with those students, just giving them a friendly reminder, a subtle nudge to accept the invite, or maybe they're having issues and you can try and figure out why they're having issues. So when you click on the Analytics, you'll be taken into course Analytics overall. And there's quite a few things to point out. So you can see the course name and the 2 tabs available to you. So there's the Lessons tab as well as the Students tab. If you do have sections in your course, you can be filtering down to look just at those students within that particular section. But I'll look at all sections for this one. And so what you're seeing is the modules with all the lessons that are available within that module. And you can see when they were made available from, and also if there's any relevant due dates. The colored bars are like remnants of the original dashboard. So giving an idea of, if students have committed, if they're still in progress, if they've not started, or if they have an extension. And again, you'll want to be finding out who those students are that maybe haven't started a lesson. Then you can click on that area of the bar, and you can even get the names of those students. And so you can give them again, a subtle nudge to complete that lesson. And then if you want to burrow more into that particular lesson, you can just click on the lesson name, and it'll take you into this view here. So once again, if you have sections, you can filter down, get a brief overview of what's the number of students, how many are committed, the average number of questions attempted, which is pretty useful. And if you're wanting to know exactly how that number is being derived, you can click on the little question mark icon, and it'll give you a definition of how that number was derived. Then for grading, if you're doing that as well. And again, get an indication of the students that have been graded or not. So in this case, 30 out of 32 students have been graded. Then you get an indication of where the questions are relevant to the page, and how many students have attempted that particular question, and again, if it's graded, what the average grade is for that particular question. If you want to be burrowing down more into that particular question, you can just click it. You'll see what the question was. And in this case, for an MCQ, it lends itself nicely to know how many students chose what option. And you also get a percentage of the entire cohort as well. So that's hopefully going to be giving indication as to if there's common misunderstandings around that. For non-MCQ questions, as you can probably appreciate, it's a bit more difficult to try and get something like this. So the way it's been done is it's been bucketed into the grades that students have got for that particular question. So again, hopefully that gives an indication as to where students might have misinterpreted a question. And this just repeats for all non-MCQ questions. So that's it for the lesson analytics. And if I jump back and go into Students tab, so you can see all the students and their progress. So again, you can click through and see at a glance how they're going. If you're wanting to know exactly how that particular student is progressing, you can click on their name and you can see the list of modules and associated lessons in that module. And you can also see if there's the status as to if they've committed, not started, if they're in progress, or they have an extension. Thankfully, you can also see when they committed the lesson as well. If that lesson adds grades, you can see their grades as well. So, and sorry, one thing I know I did point out. Yeah, so that's it for the first iteration of analytics. As always, the team wants to know what feedback there is and what people are after. So I might actually launch a poll now and just get some initial responses on the analytics that I showed. So you should see a poll appearing now. So thanks for filling that out. So yeah, a bit of a spread, but it looks like we've got people tending towards slower cadence of using these analytics and more every other week or so. And yeah, they're looking very useful, more useful than not. So it's a good sign. All right. So now some more questions, but maybe before I do that, I'll address those that have come in while I was showcasing the analytics. And so Judith asks, what does it look like for questions that are not graded? So Judith, if a question isn't graded, so I jump back in. As I understand it, but I might need someone from the development team to confirm, if the question isn't graded, then you won't see this bar, this graph, sorry. But we can follow up with you later, Judith, maybe. All right, and some more questions that come in. So a couple of ones around extracting or downloading the data. So at the moment, that's not currently available, but as I understand it, that is in the future milestone for analytics work that team probably look at next year. So I don't have any time frame on that, sorry, but I know that that's something that's very important for many of you is to be able to export the grades, particularly if you want to be doing your own analysis in another system outside of our team, or combining it maybe with other analytics, say from the LMS. So currently not available, but the team is aware that that needs to happen, and it is, as I understand it, scheduled for future work. Cool. So no more questions coming in, so I'll reverse it and ask you all some more questions. So what features that I showed excited you the most and why? Again, probably answering in the Q&A is the best way, and then others can see and upvote your responses. So I'll give you a few seconds to ponder that over. That is, what features excited you the most about what I showed you? I'm going to take the silence as you're all too stunned with excitement. All right. It's live data, yeah, I agree. And that live data is really cool. All right. Yeah, all right. So yeah, being able to drill down to individual students, see analytics reach question. Awesome. It's really, really useful information. Thank you. We will probably look to try and send out maybe surveys or maybe even have one-on-one interviews with people to get more feedback around the analytics, because the team is always very hungry to know, what it is that you're needing, what they can do to help that. So spinning the question around a wee bit, is there anything displayed that you don't find useful or wouldn't find useful? So while you're thinking over maybe what wasn't so useful with what I showed, I was answering Peter's question around how a table question is displayed. So don't think I had, so same as before, Peter, if that question has a grade associated with it, it'll be displayed in this format so we can see how students did in terms of the grades they got for that particular question. So all but the MCQ questions will be displayed in this format. All right. Thanks, Judith. So I don't have concrete dates, about when we'll have the ability to track student engagement over time. That's a pretty good thing. So I should point out, if you're seeing the questions that others are posing and you agree, please thumbs up, or if you have your own context that you'd like to add to that particular question, feel free to add a comment on an existing question. Thank you. And the last question I'll ask you, and some of it's already been addressed, but just, yeah, what features think is most missing from the analytics? So I'm sure there's quite a few, but what's the one that is most important to you that is missing? Assuming that you've already raised it if you had something that you think was most missing. All right, so that was, yeah, analytics milestone 1. But again, just to iterate that, yeah, there is future work planned, and the feedback that you provide helps tailor what that future work will look like. So now I want to open it up to more general questions about LT. If there's something that, yeah, you've been struggling with recently, and yeah, I could potentially demonstrate how to go about that or answer it live. So yeah, if you have any questions in general about LT, then please use the Q&A chat, or sorry, Q&A function, and I'll respond there. Some of you are all aces with LT. It's just been such a long year, brain's pretty fried probably, and maybe have more questions coming into New Year's. All right, so no questions coming in. So I might, sorry, I saw this. All right, so I might call it a day there, and thank you again for joining in. We'll be making the recording of this available on the website if you don't want to go back over anything. And so I did just see one final question come in from Elizabeth. Is there a way to get labels to align easily when preparing a drag and drop question? That's yeah. Within LT, there's no snap to feature at the moment, but there are ways that you can use PowerPoint and others to create templates that you can then align the labels to something on the actual image itself. So Elizabeth, I might follow up with you after on that, and we can delve a bit more deeply. I don't trust my ability to quickly open up PowerPoint, and it could be a bit of a rough tumble presentation on that. So yeah, Elizabeth, I'll follow up with you on that separately. All right, and then from Judith, what is it planned that we'll be able to download a big, when is it planned that we'll be able to download a big data set about our students? I don't have any particular time frame, sorry, Judith. I'll hope sometime next year, at least. But that's something that, yeah, again, I can follow up with you once I've consulted with the team to get an indication of when more accurately we can give an estimate for that. All right. No last minute questions coming in. But as always, yeah, feel free to use the feedback option within LT to reach out to us, or send me an email, and either myself or someone else will follow up with you. All right, so keep any questions coming in. So is it possible to put up a model set for analytic use? That's a good question, Grant. Again, I might have to defer to, I'll follow up with you afterwards, because I don't know off the top of my head, sorry, Grant, but I'll talk to the team and yeah, we'll follow up with you on that. And something you can play with, okay, like, yeah, that's a good point, Grant. So you're having, yeah, essentially dummy data as I understand it, so you can, yeah, get a better appreciation of what analytics, and potentially not using live student analytics. So yeah, I'll follow up with the team on that. And any follow-up questions I address offline, if there's anything applicable, I'll try and make that available with the recording when we put up. So if you also were interested in any of the questions asked and any of the responses that I'll provide after the webinar, I'll try and make those available to you on the website where we have the recording. Okay, so with that, I'd like to say thank you again. Yay, we made it pretty much through 2020, and hope you all have happy holidays, and we'll see you in the new year. So, thank you.